First here at 5, we begin with a news alert out of Tallahassee. The Florida Supreme Court has ruled on amendments to guarantee the right to abortion and to allow recreational marijuana here in Florida. The High Court approved both amendments to appear on the November ballot. Our political editor Craig Patrick is here now to explain the rulings and the impact this could have on the November election. Craig.
Well, bottom line, it means that Florida voters will decide whether to allow marijuana for recreational use, as a growing number of states have. That will be Amendment 3, and voters will decide whether to add the right to abortion in the state's constitution. That will be Amendment 4. Now, let's start with that abortion amendment, Amendment 4, and what that specifically means, because for years, abortion in Florida had been legal until around 24 weeks. The governor and legislature first reduced that in most cases to 15 weeks, then passed another law dialing it back to 6 weeks. Well, that 6-week law has not yet kicked in, but after today's decisions, it will kick in 30 days from now. And then in November, voters will decide whether or not to override that 6-week restriction and take it back to 24 weeks, or what's called a point of fetal viability. That will require at least 60% support to pass. The state attorney general tried to block this amendment on grounds that the wording, and specifically the term viability, would be confusing or misleading to voters. But in a 4-3 ruling, the court did not buy that argument and approved it to proceed. Same argument goes for the Amendment 3 to allow recreational marijuana in Florida. Florida currently only allows marijuana for medical use. If passed, this will allow adults 21 years or older to possess and use pot for non-medical personal consumption. The amendment, like all, requires 60% to pass. They all do. Florida Attorney General Moody also challenged this amendment, claiming that the wording could confuse voters as well. But we could tell the justices were disinclined to go along with that during the arguments in moments like this.
So help me understand what this does to inject confusion.
Because it uses a word, allows, that affirmatively
well, yeah,
suggests.
but come on. It also says applies to Florida law. I mean, like, we can't not read the context.
The court didn't say that language from the prior cases just barely passes muster, we'll let it go. It said that was the roadmap. 2 years later, we're here with virtually the same language.
In terms of the broader impact on the election in Florida, well, Democrats hope that it will bring more Democratic voters out to the polls, and there is some evidence to suggest it might, based on the results of similar amendments, referendums in other states. And polling shows more Democrats favor recreational marijuana. In fact, both amendments than Republicans do. But keep in mind, with amendment campaigns, it can be easier to get out supporters than opponents. But on the other hand, in 2022, the issue of abortion did not have as much of an impact in Florida's midterms as it did in some other states. And of course, we have other issues, a presidential election that could drive turnout much, much more than these two amendments. And with so many other variables in play, it simply isn't clear how much of an impact either of these amendments or both of them could have on other races, especially some 7 months away from the election.
And Craig, what are the chances that either of these amendments could pass?
It looks as if it'll be close. Recreational marijuana, for example, again, needs 60%. UNF polling at the end of last year showed that it had 67% support with 60% needed. That is kind of close. Legal right to abortion, again, needs 60%. Same polling showed 62% support. So in both cases, above the threshold, but that's just one poll. We haven't had much polling. We'll see much more, I would say, in the coming months that should give us a much better idea.
All right. Craig Patrick reporting tonight. Craig, thank you.
Thank you.